A very good morning to everyone who's joining me today. Thank you for, sharing your time with me to hear what I'm going to speak about today. So let's go through the agenda for today. So I'll be speaking on who is Cancer Research Malaysia, our achievements, our plans, interview with Mr. Mahmood, who's one of our donors, how to fundraise for Cancer Research Malaysia, and a closing message by Mr. Mahmood himself. So before I start the session, I would like you to take a scan of the QR code here and let me know when I say the word cancer, what is the first word that comes to your mind? It can be any word. There's no wrong or right answer, but I hope everyone can participate. I think there's about 20 over people in the call today. I'll truly appreciate if you can give me some responses. You just have to take a scan of the QR code here. Anyone else? There's only two responses that came in. I did not get the other response. Anybody else? Anyone else? Just I'm waiting for more responses before I move over. Can I have a little bit? There's 20 over people in the call, so we'll be glad that everyone can join. You just need to take a scan of the QR code and put in your responses. I lost end of marriage, scary, drugs, hospital bills, expensive. Okay. Right. So if you look at the words here, it says end of life, hair loss, chemo, deadly, scary, drugs, death, hospital bills, expensive. They all seem really negative, right? The words. And that's completely normal to feel that way because cancer is a deadly disease and no one wants to have it because the treatment is very long. You end up losing your hair, people can lose confidence. That sentence, see deadly, as hear this words a lot. And that's why Cancer Research Malaysia here, because it's really scary, right? It's very fearful. So, no hope. Okay. And that's why Cancer Research Malaysia is here. You saw all the words that you sent me earlier, right? So at Cancer Research Malaysia, we want to create a future free from the fear of cancer. So, and just relating it back to the activity I did earlier, those words were mostly negative, and that's why we are here to do it. That the organization is here today to create a future free from the fear of cancer. We believe cancer will be a controlled disease one day, and that only through scientific research will we find new ways to prevent, diagnose, treat, and manage cancer. I also, earlier when I did the interactive activity, someone wrote no hope. At Cancer Research Malaysia, we believe that hope lives here. Okay. So do you know cancer is racist? Okay, what do I mean by this is in some cancers are more common in certain countries or population compared to others, mostly because of differences in lifestyle, environment, and genetics. I can think of one obvious example, which is that Australians have the highest rates of skin cancer in the world. Malaysia is oral cancer, which kills more Malaysian and Asian patients compared to people in the Western countries. Asians make up 60% death due to cancer, but in less than 10% in research. But less, that means what it means by this is that more Asians are getting cancer, but in less than 10% in research. When research is done overseas, Asians are not included. What this means is that people like you and me are probably not getting the full benefit of medical discoveries and technological advancements from research as compared to people in the Western population. So imagine, I'm just going to throw an example here. Imagine walking into the makeup store and not being able to get a makeup that suits your skin tone because they're all made for Western skin tone and not for us. Are you able to wear this makeup that doesn't match your skin tone and look beautiful or glamorous like how you want to be? Similarly, you may think for years in the Western population and us use the same medication and it works fine. But now science has showed us our genetics are different. Like our height, our skin color, our spice tolerance can be different due to our genetics. Therefore, it is important for us to be included in research so that the medications they discover work best for us as well. We are an independent and non-profit cancer research organization based in Malaysia, funded entirely by donation and grants. At Cancer Research Malaysia, we are doing research on Asian cancers. Our priority is that Asians are not left out in the fight against cancer. So here are some of our achievements. We have developed the first Buatan Malaysia oral cancer vaccine. We have developed 2 new treatment options based on genomic characteristics of Asian cancers, co-created the first healthcare delivery system, a patient navigation program that enables low-income patients to receive timely diagnosis, treatment, and care. For genetic testing, we improve access to life-saving genetics for Asian ovarian cancer patients. We also developed ERICA, the first genetic Asian risk calculator for women. In the area of digital health, we developed the first AI-powered app for the detection of oral cancer, early detection of oral cancer in rural communities. Therefore, Cancer Research Malaysia is ensuring Asians are not left out in the fight against cancer. So here are our plans and these are our funding needs. We want to be able to do phase 1 clinical trials and expand it to be used in 3 other cancers like lung cancer, liver cancer, and nasopharyngeal cancer, in short, nose cancer. And we need close to 12 million for that. We want to expand our patient navigation program from 4 centers to 10 centers nationwide so that we can support more people from the low-income community, and that's going to cost us 24 million. We want to sustain genetic counseling for ovarian cancers in 23 hospitals nationwide, which will cost us which will need about 2 million. We want to expand the use of ERICA and increase access to life-saving genetics for breast cancer patients. We need about 2 million for that. We want to expand the use of Mimosa to all districts in the state of Sarawak so that everyone gets access and we can bring in people in early, especially those who have oral cancer. And for this, we need 12 million. So let's speak to one of our well-wisher and donor and understand why he believes in our work. He shares about, some of his philanthropic efforts as well.
So Mahmoud, I'd just like to ask, can you tell us about your philanthropic efforts?
Okay, I don't want to use the word philanthropy. It's such a huge word. I help where I can, but there are several causes that are close to my heart. Obviously, cancer is one of the closest to my heart, and it's not so much for personal reasons. I just find that cancer is something that is really a massive killer among us, not just here, globally. And I first became overly concerned or overly involved when I was a journalist, and I was covering the launch of the cancer center in, where was this? I think it was in Negeri Sembilan, the Malaysian Cancer Institute, I think. And so I learned a lot about cancer at that point, and I was doing a lot of reading for the story that I was writing for, that I was doing for Astro Bloomberg at that point. And so I came to know, and of course, over the course of my over the course of life, a lot of your relatives or your friends died due to cancer. So that is how I got into it. So I would say, so that's one. Cancer is one of the areas where I like to contribute some. But the other area is really just general poverty. So to me, as a Muslim, I believe that part of my pay, someone else has a part in it, and that's why we pay zakat, for example. But sharing that to me is important to, well, in the Muslim concept, is to help other people, but also to bless the income that you receive from him. Yeah, so that is really, if you want to call it a philanthropic effort, I don't. I call it just, sharing your keep with someone else, with the rest who need it. And with cancer, it becomes a little bit more, because cancer is expensive to, it's like most Medicare today is expensive, but for cancer, it is expensive, it's painful. So I think if I was a recipient of aid for something that is expensive, for example, I would feel very blessed that someone is a lot of people contribute to this, that people out there care and want to help. And I think that's it's always good to have, and we all know that positive vibes and positive thinking helps people recover. So once they realize that there's people out there, not the many people out there, maybe millions of people out there who are contributing and helping them go through their challenging time, it can help them get better as well. That's what I believe in.
That's very nice. Yeah, it's by you helping someone, you are much more grateful for what you have as well.
Precisely.
So Mahmoud, I'll just like to ask, can you tell us about your
Okay. We wanted to know why Mr. Mahmoud actually chose Cancer Research Malaysia. Mr. Mahmoud also explained before he makes any personal donations, he does his research and understands about the organization better first. So let's hear it from him.
Why did you choose to donate to Cancer Research Malaysia as one of your beneficiaries as compared to the other organizations out there?
Well, again, one is because cancer is close to my heart from the time when I was exposed to that cancer institute. It was in Nilai Cancer Institute, yeah, now I remember.
Okay.
That was launched back then. So that is one of the reasons. But before I do personal donations, for example, I do a lot of research on the places that I wish to contribute to. And I believe Cancer Research Malaysia, or CRM, is very well run. It's got a very good team doing all the proper research, and we know that some of it is already helping people. So those things are important because we know how there can be, and I use this word very sparingly, there can be scams with this kind of thing.
Correct.
So
Correct.
you do not want to, your money, which you have good intentions with, good intentions for, to go in the hands of the wrong people, right? So I suppose one of the reasons is I know that CRM is doing a lot and changing lives, and I know that CRM is well run as well. And I've attended a few of your events, and I've met the people who run, and I know they're genuine. They are people who are really invested into the association or into the group, so that this is important because you want to know that you're putting your money in for a group of people who's actually making change and improving the lives of others. So I do believe that that's an important part of any organization in terms of their own persona to the public. So that is important.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. It's very good to hear that. I mean, yeah, like you said, the credibility of the organization is very important because there's just too many scams out there, and people are also very scared where they're putting their money.
So here, Mr. Mahmood actually explained that, as I was mentioning earlier, that before he makes a personal donation, he does his own research to understand about the organization that he wants to contribute to, and he strongly believes in the credibility of Cancer Research Malaysia.
Why did you?
And this is how Mr. Mahmood will describe Cancer Research Malaysia to others who are listening today.
So, in line with that, how will you describe our organization and mission to another potential donor, someone who's hearing today may want to donate? So, what will you want to tell them?
Well, I would probably say don't delay. That's for one. I mean, I've just explained just now that the fact is that CRM is properly run and it has proper teams doing proper research and impacting people's lives and uh, improving people's lives. So how I would describe you guys is professional, to the point, and well run. So to anyone who's listening to this now, I said, if you are right now considering CRM, don't delay. It is for a good cause, and it is your funds will be used in the proper way. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So in
Okay, this is the next one.
how do you see Cancer Research Malaysia being of value to Malaysians or Malaysia?
Well, when you impact people positively, it is obviously going to of value to Malaysians and Malaysia in general as well. Um, to Malaysia, it is a benefit because we are doing research. You guys are doing research, and you may, with the help of your partners and your doctors, be on the verge of something major that will help cancer globally. Because for some organizations, all you do is you are paying for care, right? You're collecting money, you're paying people for care to offset their costs, their cost of Medicare. But for CRM, you are doing the research yourself. You've got a team doing this. So to me, that is valuable to Malaysia because Malaysia can be on the map for those reasons as well. And of course, to Malaysians, it can be a proud icon of how Malaysia as a country, we have an organization that is helping cancer to helping the world beat cancer.
Correct, correct. And like you said, this is by Malaysians for Malaysians. And if
Correct.
you want to, if you want to become, the first world country and all that, R&D is a very important starting point to build the foundation. And here at Cancer Research Malaysia, like you said that, there are organizations out there who pay like for screening, who give medical aid. But over here, we are doing the research here so that whatever that we find out, it will ultimately benefit Malaysians or Asians. So I think this we are coming to the end of
sorry, Vish, if I could just add to that point for adding value. I think again, as a Muslim, whatever you do, and I think this is a general principle, good general principle. Whatever you do, that if you keep impacting people in a positive way, that counts in the eyes of the Almighty, right? So that's important because you are doing something to help people live their life, to help people deal with the challenges they have in their life. So that is something that is we have to be mindful as well that the Almighty is always going to look at it as a positive. Well, brownie points, I suppose, is one way to describe it. Yes.
Yeah, in fact, I think lately I was watching something and I heard someone saying, the price you pay to live in this world is by doing service to others.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
How do you see cancer? How do you?
Okay, So you have heard about Mr. Mahmood being a donor and what he thinks about Cancer Research Malaysia, and he speaks about the credibility of the organization. He knows that we are doing impactful research on Asians. So you may be wondering how you can fundraise for us, how you can fundraise for Cancer Research Malaysia. So first, as I shared earlier, it is a non-profit organization, and this work, whichever achievements that I showed you earlier, whether it's our vaccine project, whether it's the patient navigation project, it was all made possible because of research grants and donations. So here I'll be sharing some methods that you can join and work together with us to fundraise for Cancer Research Malaysia. So we have a DIY fundraising toolkit. So it's a self-help tool. We can guide you and work with you collaboratively to raise funds for Cancer Research Malaysia. If you want to do it completely on your own and you're looking for ideas, you're looking how to operationalize the ideas, you can refer to this fundraising toolkit. So if you scan the QR code here on the screen, then when you're done with the fundraising, you can provide the fund back to us or donate the fund to us. So you go to the fundraising toolkit because the fundraising toolkit is meant to be a self-help tool. This is for those who want to completely do it on their own. They want to organize A to Z on their own. And these are some of the things that we have in the fundraising toolkit. It shows you, gives you idea. You can do bake sale, you can do fundraising party. You want even to do a game night, so you can. It goes step by step. It throws you different ideas, how you can operationalize your fundraising plans. Okay, that's one method. The second method is you can collaborate with us with Cancer Research Malaysia. So this is the email and this is our phone number. We will work with you and co-brand with you if you want, or we can bring in international brands like the Terry Fox Run. Someone from our team will be assigned to you to do a joint event together. So we do have few joint events happening this year as well. So that's how we can work with you. You can work with us collaboratively. And number three, if you feel that fundraising is too much for you and to do on your own or even to work with Cancer Research Malaysia, but you still want to get involved, you can actually volunteer to be in our events, like the upcoming events. You can register to volunteer with us. And we try to match you up, your talents, your availability of your time, and give you a role to play in our upcoming fundraising activities. For example, we have Terry Fox Penang coming up. So if someone from Penang is listening today, and you would like to help us during Terry Fox, you would like to volunteer with us, please take a scan of this QR code here, which will link you to our Linktree account, and it will show you how to be a volunteer. You got to fill up the form, and you can volunteer with us. So there are different ways you can help us. You can do it on your own, you can collaboratively work with us, or you can volunteer with us. These are some of the methods you can do. And last but not least, here's a short message from Mr. Mahmood for everyone today.
Okay, for the donors, for those who would be donors, for the donors to CRM, I would like to thank them for their effort as well. I mean, to join that bandwagon that's helping CRM. For the potential donors, if you are doubting, if you're still doing research, I, for one, can vouch for the efforts that CRM is doing. I mean, I'm a donor at a personal level, and at a corporate level, I also try to influence the decisions of the committee in terms of contributing towards CRM. So I believe that if you are still looking for how to be part of the war against cancer, CRM is the perfect platform to be able to do this. So don't hesitate, and please continue to support Cancer Research Malaysia. And if I was to have one wish for CRM, I wish that it would receive more federal grants from the government to be able to pursue all that we need to pursue to fight cancer in Malaysia and potentially for the world as well. Okay.
Okay, so thank you everyone. We have came to the end of my presentation today. I will personally like to thank Mr. Mahmood for his time and willing to give us this interview. I hope he has shared his perspective as a donor, and you have now better understood about Cancer Research Malaysia and our fundraising efforts. Please help me to fill up this feedback form so that I would know how I can improve my future presentation. And I'll also get some idea of what are the other topics you would like to hear from me. So I'm opening up the floor for a 5 minutes Q&A. If you have any question, please drop your questions in the Q&A box. And I'll be happy to take them. Anybody has any questions? Okay, that's one question. When is your upcoming event? Okay, so just to answer you, we have Fox Penang happening on the 30th of June this year. It will be in Penang. We are finalizing the details. If you go to our website, then normally the details are updated there, or if you go to our Facebook page, Cancer Research Malaysia, or even our Instagram page, we're actually updating all the information there. In somewhere in September, we have Fox KL. We have other upcoming events as well. Once the date is confirmed, it will be all shared in our social media page.
Yeah, sorry, this is Andy. Just to add on to that, I think what Vishala is sharing as a response to the inquiry actually illustrates the fact that your involvement and activity with Cancer Research Malaysia can be tailored exactly to how much available time, how much you want to be involved with us, how you want to contribute. So in the case, for example, for people who want to be involved with an ongoing activity like Cherry Fox Run, the simplest is to say, oh, the run is on this date in this place, and I'm, living in Penang, I'm living in Melaka, I'm living in KL. I will go on this Saturday and run and be a participant. That's the simplest, easiest way. And make a small donation. You get a T-shirt, you participate in a fun activity, and you get a little bit of positive experience with contributing towards fundraising for cancer research. The other alternative is, of course, you say, I have a little bit more time and maybe I help them to organize the run. Maybe I help them during the day as a volunteer. So we have cases of people who say, okay, I am not keen to run because I know it's a fun run and I'm a professional runner. We do have runners in Malaysia who are professionals who run long distance marathons, but they say, I'm so used to organizing runs and being in professional runs that I will help Cancer Research Malaysia as a volunteer. So you come and you say, okay, I volunteer not to be a contributing runner, but really to help you guys organize the activity. Maybe I help with the registration, I help with giving out goodie bags, I help with answering questions, I help along the run route to make sure if anybody has questions or gets lost or gets injured, fall down, I coordinate with the central committee to make sure that the ambulance comes. Once in a while, people do fall down. Our children do get hurt when they run in a park and actually have a small injury by falling down and scraping their knee. So we do have volunteers along those lines as well. Not people who run, but actually who participate to give their time and effort to contribute that way. The other possibility is to say that, there are people who are interested to raise money themselves. So in that instance, they may be in a situation where they say, I have a school or I have a company or I have an association or organization and we would like to do our own fundraising. I don't want to do it as part of your ongoing agenda. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, the effort and time and activity you invest in doing that sort of fundraising is a lot more than if you just come to our event and just participate as a runner. So you have the whole concept of very many ways that you can participate with Cancer Research Malaysia. You can be a participant in our activities and contribute on your own as a donor. You can be a volunteer, and inshallah mentioned earlier, and showed you the slide that volunteers help us to provide manpower during our activities, and we assign you various responsibilities. And usually with our volunteers, we also give them a small appreciation token. That's what some people love to collect. And then last but not least, we can then also aggressively say, hey, I got my own community of employees or friends, companies or schools. There are people who say that I'm a student in the university or I'm a student in the high school and I'm the president of my high school club. So we want to do a fundraising activity. Can you help us plan and organize a fundraising run or a fundraising day. So we can collaborate that way, but that is a lot more effort than if you take the simple route of coming as a volunteer or take the simple route as coming as a participant. So there are options. They are open for all types of availability of people and effort that you want to put into fundraising. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't think we have any other question. We have already answered this question. And yeah, there's no other questions. So I think I'm going to close the floor now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we hope to see, we hope to see you all in our fundraising activities. Please, please, please check out our social media page. We would keep you guys updated through there. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Well, before we close out, I just wanted to also mention, Vishala, which is a good thing, that some of our fundraising activities need not be one that you primarily look to raise money alone. If you are interested in helping us with more awareness generation, so for example, you're part of a company or you're part of an institution like a school or university, you can approach us and send in an inquiry. We're happy to do a talk. So for example, if you say, in my company, we are interested to let our employees know more about breast cancer, how ladies can, or even men can go through self-screening and early detection for breast cancer risks and all that. We're interested in genetics and we want to understand how our genes can contribute to future risk of cancer because my grandmother had cancer of ABC, my uncle has cancer of ABC, and whether that poses a risk to me because genetically my family has history of cancer. Then we can receive your request, and it's got nothing to do with fundraising, but it's actually helpful because two things. First is that it's awareness generation. The more people who understand about cancer of all types, that you may have questions for your community or your employees in your company, your colleagues, or even your university or your high school, then you have a situation where more people know and understand about cancer, the more preventative actions they can take, the more precautions they can take to avoid becoming a cancer victim, number one. And number two, also, it helps us because when people attend such a talk from us, they are aware that we exist as an organization, that we are doing the type of research that's relevant to Malaysians and Asians about cancer, since cancer is so genetically determined, and we know that over time, if we live long enough to 80 years old, statistics around the world have shown that people who reach the age of 80 to 90, 70 to 80 to 90, as many as 1 in 2 people will experience cancer personally. Right? It doesn't mean that everybody dies from cancer. Today, cancer is a very survivable disease, but it requires people to early detection, early treatment, and hopefully at the end of the day, the access to funds, because treatment is never cheap, hospitalization and all that. So we know that in terms of being affected by cancer, the more we know about it, the better we are prepared. And eventually, as many as 50% of people who live to 70, 80, 90 will actually have a personal experience with cancer over time. So it's good to share knowledge. We are happy to do workshops and seminars or even talks like this. Let us know if you think in your community, you may be part of your company, you're involved in the company, you talk to HR, you talk to employee engagement, and connect us with the right people, we can offer talks to them. Right? So Vishala and myself, we're always happy to participate in community engagement for cancer awareness. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. We have another question. Can you share back the QR for attendance? I'm thinking it's a feedback form. I'm sharing it on the screen now. Leave it here for about a minute before we close off the session.
In terms of activity, for example, for those people who have got your community or even your company or your institution like a university or even an association of, for example, people who are have interest in certain things like running club or even a senior citizens association or something like that. You do common activities for for your community. We have even interactive sessions where we can be on site. We can share with people how to do, for example, breast examination through a very fun mechanism called the lemon skate. And the lemon skate is a worldwide recognized technology developed by a Canadian lady who wanted to share with people how women and even men can do simple breast examinations and not feel embarrassed about talking about it. They literally use lemons. But of course, today we don't use real lemon, as in the limau and the fruit, but we actually use plastic examples of what lemons could look like. And these 13 to 14 lemons have got examples of problems that are related to commonly in terms of symptoms of breast cancer, like either bleeding or bumps or hardening under the skin and all that. So we have the Lemons Kit workshop that we can do. Preferably that one must be on site in person, because then the audience gets to see and touch and feel the lemons, and we share and we explain to people using the lemons how they would go about doing their self-examination for precautionary screening of breast cancer. And usually that sort of workshop is very attractive to communities where there are a lot of women and possibly women who are in their 30s, 40s and above. As they get more senior, then there's awareness about breast cancer. So Vishala, your lemon skate is actually a very attractive workshop for many communities on site.
Yeah, correct. It's a very interactive activity. Okay, we have, I think I'm going to close off the session now. Thanks again to everyone who attended today. We hope to see you in our fundraising events and probably in my next webinar as well. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.